all the all the ballots that were cast to be counted, and we won't really know what we want to know about the national scene until maybe December 6th, right? I mean, it could be over if Nevada gets a ton of votes for Cortez Mastro and she wins. And then if Kelly wins Arizona, and then the Democrats have 50 on the Senate side, and they can break any tiebreaker with the vice president, right? Then they don't have to worry about Georgia. But it's unclear if Cortez Mastro is going to win Nevada. Maybe Kelly wins Arizona, in which case December 6th, the runoff between Warnock and Walker is going to be the decider for the Senate. So that's the Senate. We're still waiting on the House, really, although the Republicans have picked up about 206 seats. They need 218. The Democrats only have 187, and there's about 42 races that are still in flux. So it's possible that the Democrats could pull it out, but it looks more like the red trickle will go the Republicans' way. They'll get to 218, although, like I said, there's a lot of votes yet to be cast in the toss up districts. I'll say the one race I'm particularly surprised by is the Michelle Steele Jay Chen race in California 45, the House district that was part LA and part Orange County, which was really strange because Jay Chen, former naval officer, naval reserve officer, college community college board president, totally qualified, right? He won in LA. He won the LA votes in California 45. Unfortunately, California 45 also is split with Orange County, and there Michelle Steele built a lead to defeat Jay Chen. And Michelle Steele is, it's not enough, right? It's not enough that she got an overwhelming push in redistricting by having this split LA Orange County thing because she had her hat handed to her in the LA County voting. Jay Chen won. But in Orange County, conservative Orange County, she she benefited, but it's not with the white conservative Orange County folks that you'd figure. She benefited from the Orange County folks who are Asian American, who are Vietnamese, who are here and hate anything related with the Communist Party. Of course, Americans would hate anything related with the Communist Party. But if you fled Vietnam, fled the Communist Party, and that's why you came to America as a refugee, you absolutely hate anything communist. And this is why we got to look at Michelle Steele and say, yeah, really, Michelle? Michelle Steele did these bogus campaign ads that painted Jay Chen as a member of the Communist Party, teaching communist propaganda in schools. Total lies. And you'd have to think that that played a role in getting the Orange County vote to swing to Michelle Steele. It's dirty, it's unethical, it was a lie, and it may not be the big lie, but it was a little lie that cost. Well, you'd say, well, what difference does it make, Emil? An Asian American won. Yeah, but an Asian American won by using a tactic that is just unethical, disgusting, and I don't know how Michelle Steele can face her constituency. Hi, I'm Michelle Steele, public figure. I lied and lied about my opponent to get where I am. I guess that's just the way it is. That's plain politics, I guess, right? Anyway, Michelle Steele, shame on you. You may have won California 45, but at what price? To your integrity and personal dignity, and by slurring the good name and honor of Jay Chen. And I'd like to see Michelle Steele make that one right. Make that one right now. In the after you've won, now do you go back and say, "Oh, I didn't mean it about Jay Chen, saying he was a communist, saying that he was teaching Chinese propaganda in California schools." I mean, it's remarkable. And so, from an Asian American perspective, it was probably one of the most disgusting things that I saw from election day. And Michelle Steele won. And of course, Michelle Steele won. Her husband is a California GOP operative, and she was in this district where if it was solely LA County, Jay Chen won the LA County part of that California 45. The Orange County part, he didn't win. And I can't help but think it's because Michelle Steele used the tactic of slurring and lying about her opponent, Jay Chen. Shame on you. Shame on you, Michelle Steele. All right, welcome to Emil Amok's Takeout, my takes on all things considerable. I just had to get that off my chest. That's one of the first things if you want to talk about anything Asian American about this election, well, number one, it's hard unless there's an Asian American candidate. And that to me is like one of the bigger ones, the Michelle Steele Jay Chen race. Some of the other local races are worth talking about. I'm really sorry about Sheng Tao. Sheng Tao was looking to be the first Hmong American woman to lead a major city, Oakland. She lost in the first go round to Lauren Taylor, 53 to 47. Or she came in second. She didn't win the majority of the first part of the race. Then they went to ranked choice voting, and she lost to Lauren Taylor. Now, here's the thing about Sheng Tao. Both are members, Sheng Tao and Lauren Taylor, both are members of the Oakland City Council, right? Running for mayor. And Sheng Tao had a lot of support. I mean, you don't get 47% in ranked choice voting because you're incompetent or nobody. She had the backing from labor unions, backing of California Attorney General Rob Bonta, who is winning his race to be the elected Attorney General. It's not final, but I think there's only like 40% of the vote in. But Sheng Tao had a chance. Single mother, backing from the unions, backing from Rob Bonta, not enough. And I'm sorry that I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention to her race, and she loses 53 to 47 on ranked choice voting. Sheng Tao, I don't know if she gives up her council seat, but it would have been. It would have been. That's one of the races that I'm looking at and saying I wish I paid more attention. I don't live in Oakland. I wish I'd paid more attention to it because I'm paying attention to it now. I'm sorry that Sheng Tao came up short. There is one local race in LA that I think everyone should know about. And that is, I mean, I was talking to some friends tonight who vote in LA, and I said, "Did you vote for Kenneth Mejia?" And they said, "Yeah." That's one of the things I'm excited about, they said. I mean, Kenneth Mejia, if you don't know who Kenneth Mejia is, he is LA City Controller, declared victory today. And statewide results, Kenneth Mejia, first CPA in a certified public accountant who is city controller. Who, when you think about it, that's wild. No city controller has been a CPA. I mean, you would think that that would be one of the skills that would be helpful besides being a good politician. City controller, they're in charge of paymaster and writes out the checks. First CPA, first Filipino elected official in LA, which is hard to believe, right? First AAPI citywide elected official. Citywide. You consider that most of the local politicians are elected by districts, city council districts, which is a way to get diversity when you have problems. First Filipino elected official in LA, citywide. First AAPI citywide elected official, according to Mejia. Now, I would think that there's got to be some council members aren't citywide. So that was this is from Kenneth Mejia's Twitter account. First person of color as city controller in over 100 years. Congratulations to Kenneth Mejia, Mejia. Don't know Kenneth Mejia? Look, he's in his 30s, mid 30s. He's a progressive, and how he got to where he is. I mean, he won by 23 points. He beat a long time city councilman, Paul Koretz, who, as is the case with politicians, they were looking for a place to land, and someone said, "Hey, why not city controller?" I don't think Paul Koretz knew what hit him. I mean, Mejia won with 60.81% of the vote this morning to 39.19. It's probably grown. That was the vote total this morning. Koretz gave up. Mejia declared victory, and people are already talking about great things for Mejia in the future. I mean, this, if you don't think this is just a stepping stone, I mean, that's why I mentioned Kenneth Mejia. If you don't know Kenneth Mejia, get to know him, because it looks like he's made politics his career. And if you know about the long arc, the long tail of political careers, I mean, Joe Biden is in his 80s, right? Or late 70s. But keep the name Kenneth Mejia in mind when you think about Filipino American candidates from California. And keep this also in mind. He may be, I'll write about this in my AALDEF piece I'll write tomorrow, but I'll write more about Kenneth Mejia then. But just keep him in mind, LA City Controller. All right, now I'm live now at 7 p.m. Pacific because I didn't do my show live at 2 o'clock today. I know that no one, and very few people say, "Oh, Emil, I didn't notice you weren't there at 2 o'clock because you played a replay." Yeah, I played a replay. But I thought, look, I'll come on at 7. I'll come on for a few minutes now because it's worth talking about what happened, right? I mean, everyone is expecting this red wave. It wasn't a red wave. Of course, if you're looking at Asian American things, I mean, unless you're talking about Asian American candidates like I just did, talking about 3 local ones and 1 congressional, no one talks about Asian Americans. In fact, I didn't really hear anyone talk about the minority vote. A little bit about, maybe it was the Latino vote putting Ron DeSantis up in Florida. Uh, Very little about the African American vote, although it's important. Very little about race issues, in fact, in any of the exit polls. And that's why I thought, all right, I'm going to talk about the AALDEF exit poll right now. It's the AALDEF exit poll, nonpartisan, multilingual, 5,351 Asian American voters in, let's see, DC, California, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, Nevada, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Virginia. I mean, that's a ton of states there. Voters were surveyed in English as well as 11 Asian languages, including Arabic, Bengali, Chinese, Gujarati, Hindi, Khmer, Korean, Punjabi, Tagalog, Urdu, and Vietnamese. And they're going to come out with more soon. But here's the statement from Margaret Fung, who's executive director at AALDEF. In the last decade, Asian Americans have been the fastest growing racial group in the electorate, numbering more than 13.3 million Asian American voters. Their support or opposition can make or break a close election. Our flagship exit poll illuminates the cross-cutting issues that are important to Asian American communities and the values we share. With critical issues like abortion access and immigration at stake in the midterms, the Asian American vote is now more important than ever. It is. It is. That was a statement from Margaret Fung, executive director at AALDEF. They had over 550 volunteers in 15 states. So this is an effort. And they also were there to watch how Asian American voters are treated. And apparently, many Asian American voters were required to provide identification when it was not required. They were sent to the wrong poll site. They were not given provisional ballots and did not have access to interpreters. And that's the law. The law says you're required to have access to interpreters in various jurisdictions. And so, thank goodness for AALDEF being poll watchers, because here are the things they observed: missing or no interpreters, poll workers incorrectly requiring voters to provide identification, voters being sent to incorrect poll sites, voters not being provided provisional ballots, and machine breakdowns. So this is a big deal, and believe me, one of the reasons why I do this, people say, hey, Emil, why are you doing this? I do this because you're not going to hear this on CNN. You're not. You're not going to hear it even on MSNBC. You're not. You might find it on different sites like the ASAM News site, maybe. They'll pick up the release. You'll see it on my column I write for the AALDEF blog and for other ethnic news organizations. It's important because we're here. I mean, we can genericize and say, "Oh, look, we're waiting for the Senate race to see if the Democrats take it, or we're waiting for the House." Okay, we're genericized there. But what happens to Asian American candidates? What happens to Asian American voters? It's important in our democracy. I mean, the good thing was, if you were at all, say, worried about democracy, and I think it's almost hard not to be, right? Because that was sort of the closing argument of Democrats, Joe Biden. And we're going to play a little bit of his speech today, too, just a little bit. But thank goodness you woke up today and we still had a democracy. Thank goodness. I mean, really. I mean, there was Joe Biden. Do you see Joe Biden took a victory lap and a well-deserved one? Excuse me. He was hoarse. I was hoarse. Joe Biden at his victory lap. A good day for democracy. A good day for America. I mean, thank goodness, right? Because really, the bottom line is the voters did their thing. The voters went out, did their thing, and said, "Look, we like democracy, and things are so screwed up. We need divided government, but divided government only works if the parties work together. It doesn't work if the parties are roadblocks for each other or to each other. So we'll see. I mean, the vote said there was no mandate. The red wave, like I said, did not materialize, but democracy did. Thank goodness for that. We're all in this together, in this genericized, we're all in the same boat. But it's helpful, right? It's helpful to have exit polling that shows where Asian Americans are, right? So here are the preliminary national results from the AALDEF exit poll of Asian Americans. So for the vote for the House of Representatives, 64% were Democrat, 32% Republican, which is pretty much how the breakdown is of our community. 64 Democrat, 32 Republican, 2.7% other, 1.2% did not vote. Now, makes you wonder, there was an exit poll and 1.2% said they didn't vote, where they were just hanging around. Anyway, maybe they voted for other things, but not for the House. Anyway, interesting 64-30 Democrat Republican split. Top three factors influencing the House vote. Guess what it was? Economy and jobs, 15%. Healthcare, 14.5%. Education, 13.1%. So, when people said in the general poll, exit poll, CNN had a general exit poll, the top influencer for why people voted, inflation, 31%. Abortion, 27%. Crime, 11%. Guns, 11%. Immigration, 10%. Funny, in this Asian American House vote, economy and jobs, 15%. Healthcare, 14.5%. Education, 13.1%. Those are the top three. In the vote for governor in the various states, 61.5% Democrat, 35% Republican. So that kind of holds in the 60-30 split of where Asian Americans are. Vote for Senate, same thing, 66.1% Democrat, 30% Republican. Joe Biden approval. No matter what anyone says, we like Joe Biden a little better than most. 45.3%. I think that's above the national. The national is about 44, I think. Asians were 45.3 approved, 23.3 don't know. You're allowed to not know. 31.4 said we disapprove. So that's maybe in keeping. Here's some other in keeping with the national averages on exit polls. Victim of anti-Asian harassment or violence in the past 2 years. A minority, 21.6% said yes, I was a victim. 78.4% said no. Some other questions. Support requiring teaching a unit of AAPI history in K through 12. 82.7% said yes, do that. 17.3% said no. That's surprising well, it's pretty overwhelming, 82 to 17. but that some people say, nah, don't require teaching it. I mean, there's some hardened Asian Americans. We don't need a history. Here's a trendy one. Support access to legal abortion. What do you think? Asian Americans. 63.8% support access to legal abortion. 15.8% don't know. 20.4% oppose. So here's the value of something like this very targeted Asian American Pacific Islander exit poll in numerous languages, 11 Asian languages, over 5,300 Asian American voters. When you ask them, or when someone asks you, well, where do Asian Americans stand on abortion? You can say 63.8% support access to legal abortion. 15.8% don't know, 20.4% oppose. This is important because in the most Asian American state, California, they had that Prop 1, which supports access to legal abortion, and that passed. That passed. Asian Americans in line with that. Another question. Do you support laws to protect transgender people from discrimination? It's important. 65.2% support. 20.9% don't know. 14% oppose. 14% oppose. But 65.2% support laws to protect transgender people from discrimination. That's important. Think about that next time you see a story about trans bathrooms or that bathroom issue coming up. There was a story at ASAM News about an outspoken trans advocate who was placed in a men's jail for something. Trans as an issue to protect transgender people from discrimination. Overwhelming support from the Asian American community. Now, there are some other questions they asked. Main source of news. 18.3% said newspaper. We're still readers. We like it didn't specify mainstream or ethnic news, but if you like to read ethnic newspapers, they're mostly ethnic, although a lot of them are online. But 18.3 said their main source of news is the newspaper. 15.9% said other. Not sure what other would be. Smoke signals, I don't know. Tea leaves, 15.9% said other. 13% actually said CNN. Specifically, not MSNBC, not Fox, CNN. 9.9% said radio. And Facebook at 9.2%, unless you have relatives who work there today and they got laid off. And then you're mad. But that's surprising. Facebook, 9.2%, which tells me that this is a crowd that may be skewing old. I mean, I don't see TikTok in here. Although if you're getting your news from TikTok, think of it. Not only are you well informed, but you're probably a good dancer too. Probably. Now, here's another question they ask on all the exit polls. The outcome of 2020 presidential election, is it legitimate? And we know that in the regular polling, about 66% said legitimate, but that meant 30% said no. That was in the CNN poll that I saw yesterday. In this AALDEF Asian American exit poll, 59.2% said yes, Biden's 2020 presidential election was legitimate. 16.3% said no. So we aren't as election denier as the general exit poll. 24.5% said, I don't know. I live in the moment. Me and the Buddha in the moment. How the heck do I know? 24.5%. So they don't have an opinion. Not sure. I don't know. Outcome of 2020 presidential election, if it's legitimate, that's from the AALDEF exit poll of Asian Americans. But 59.2% said yes, it is legitimate. Now, I'm going to read the states tomorrow on my show at 2 p.m. But since Georgia looks to be the big one, Georgia's a big state. I mean, in terms of it's going to decide everything for the Senate. Well, if right now Democrats have 48, Republicans have 49. If Cortez Masto, I mean, if she loses, Republicans have 50. If Kelly wins in Arizona, then the Democrats have 49. And then Georgia's going to be very important in terms of preserving that 50-50 split. And then Kamala Harris has something to do. So here's the profile of Asian Americans in Georgia. Vote for House of Representatives, 60% voted Democrat, 35% Republican, 3.3% other, 1.3% did not vote. The top three factors influencing their House vote: healthcare, 16.3%, economy and jobs, 14%, education, 13.5%. That's in keeping with the national figures on the in terms of Asian Americans. Vote for governor. Now, Stacey Abrams lost. 55.3% Democrat, 38.8% Republican, 4% other, 2% did not vote. Sad about the Stacey Abrams loss, but that was decided early, and it wasn't close. Here's the key thing: the vote for Senate. 60.1% Democrat, 33.3% Republican, 4.6% other, and 2% did not vote. So this is the Georgia exit poll. 60% went Democrat, meaning Warnock. 33.3% Republican, meaning Walker. And you're going to have to look at that. And when it comes to December 6th, that's going to be important because Asian Americans are going to have to vote again for the runoff December 6th. Joe Biden approval rating, 37.9% only. So lower than other Asian American national figures. 37.9% approve, 26.1% don't know, 36% disapprove. And then I think there's always room for one question that is going to be helpful in trying to get a sense of Asian American public opinion, and that's abortion, because democracy, yes, abortion, yes, right? That's nationally a trend. For Asian Americans, no different. In Georgia, support access to legal abortion, 59.2% support. 59.2%. 19.8% don't know, 21% oppose. But they support access to legal abortion. So this is the AALDEF Asian American Legal Defense and Education Fund 2022 midterm election exit poll. I mean, you can look at other exit polls out there, and they rarely target Asian Americans, and you rarely get a sense of what Asian Americans are about. So this is one of the reasons why AALDEF is a tremendous resource when it comes to nonpartisan, multilingual exit polls of Asian American voters. This one, 5,351 Asian American voters, November 8th, in 11 Asian languages in 15 states, including the biggest one, California, New York. And as I said, tomorrow I'll read off more from the other states in question. We'll see something about Nevada. Pennsylvania was big with Fetterman's victory. Thank goodness Fetterman won. I mean, you don't hear much from Oz. I didn't see anything from Oz today, but Fetterman, God love him. If you've ever been kicked and gotten up, that's our guy. And I hope he delivers. I hope he delivers in the name of democracy. So there's the exit poll. Like I said, it's helpful. Exit polls are helpful, especially that abortion number. I didn't know support for abortion would be as high, but you see abortion high among the ranks of Asian American women or female politicians. Judy Chu got arrested in Washington. Active civil disobedience, to push the codification of abortion in Congress. So you knew it was important, but how important? I don't know if anyone really knew. So thank goodness now we have a number. 60% of the community, nationally and higher in certain states. Because we know that was a national political trend. A national political trend. All right, so tomorrow or at 2 o'clock, I'll play when I come on live. I'll talk more about 2 p.m. Pacific. I'll talk more about that poll, the exit poll. Some other just observations about the election yesterday. I'm surprised that there wasn't the kind of outright violence. Not really surprised, but I'm glad there wasn't. Okay, uh, I guess that's why I was surprised because people were talking about it, the Paul Pelosi incident, and the way that Republicans were like laughing and making fun and not condemning it. You thought, oh my God, there's going to be the potential for violence, the potential for January 6th creeping in on November 8th is great. But thank goodness, I think the Paul Pelosi instance made people stop and think. Made people stop and think, hey, we're voting now. And many people are saying how, God, this feels normal. I mean, I don't think people were overreacting when they said that there's that democracy was on the line. I don't think that was an overreaction at all. But Joe Biden spoke today. He said, it's all about how the media plays it. I don't know. I think a lot of people took Joe Biden's closing arguments pretty seriously, saying that democracy is on the line. But here's Joe Biden again today from his press conference today. And I think it's important to play this. That's one of the things that a couple of my friends have pointed out to me because they've gotten COVID, and they said, and then we got Paxlovid, and we're it wasn't as severe, the COVID, and they're happy for that. But why didn't the Democrats talk about that? That was important. because my friend said, look, I didn't have to pay $500 for the Paxlovid treatment. I think that is significant. And then, so Biden was talking about that today, and he was also talking about this. So, here's Biden after the fact talking about this, and you wonder, God, did people understand this when they give him such low approval ratings? Did people understand this when they, you know, well, they went to the polls. Someone says they're not hearing Biden. I hope you're hearing Biden. I'm hearing Biden from my ears. Anyway, someone says they're not hearing Biden. Oh well, Joe Biden talking about democracy and about the economic good that the Democrats are doing. Here's the thing that's kind of interesting. Someone asked him, "Well, what are you going to? Are you going to change things?" He said, "I'm not going to change a thing. People just are going to have to figure out. I'm waiting for people to catch up and understand what we're doing." So Biden was optimistic. Biden was holding out an olive branch, perhaps. I mean, he may not have to deal. He may not have Nancy Pelosi as the House Speaker. It looks like it. It's unfortunate. I thought about Nancy Pelosi a lot today, actually, as Kevin McCarthy was trying to figure out how he's going to be elected Speaker. But certainly, he's not being elected with the kind of majority that he thought. So that's a kind of good thing because the opportunity for bipartisanship might be greater. Because look, the Democrats had the House and they weren't able to get as much through as they wanted. There were bumps along the way. Maybe this configuration will be better, but of course it means they still got it. They may cede the House. We're still waiting for votes to come in, but they definitely have to win the Senate. That means winning Georgia. Warnock was ahead by just a tiny bit, but he didn't get 50%, so the runoff's on December 6th. We're going to be crossing our fingers a lot until December 7th, maybe. All right, so I guess that's it. I look for my column. I'll write about a lot of this for my AALDEF column blog, which hits tomorrow, aaldef.org/blog. I'll talk about some races that really bothered me. Like, all right, people say, oh, extremism bad. But how extreme was Michelle Steele to fabricate a lie about Jay Chen? That wasn't good. I'm talking about California Congressional District 45. When Michelle Park Steele, Korean American, painted Jay Chen, Taiwanese American, as a tool of the Chinese Communist Party. That's some real deep, hurtful Asian on Asian hate. That really is. That's an Asian on Asian hate crime. And Michelle Steele is going to Congress because of it. All right. Regular listeners of my show know that I do this Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific. I'm on late tonight because I thought, what the heck? I'll do it late. I'll do it at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 on the East Coast. I hope you're listening. If not, catch a replay on amok.com. This is show 427. I do one of these a day, just as kind of a way to communicate with you. So, people know you can get this on Twitter at Emil Amok, Emil Amok. You can get it on my YouTube channel at Emil Amok1 on YouTube. Facebook at fb.com, facebook.com/emilguillermo.media. And of course, replays on amok.com. Hey, look, one of the reasons why I like to do this is because I like to test myself against the kind of extreme overreactions that may have characterized my past. But I've been meditating. I am now more equanimous. I am trying to deal with things in a more loving and understanding way. And I share my insights with you here. So I do a little meditation toward the end. And this is just to make sure that I can be more kind and be more loving. And it starts with showing love and kindness to yourself. But before you do that, you show it to others. And so, as I wish for me, I wish for you. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. And may you live with ease. Emil Guillermo, back in tomorrow, live, 2 p.m. Pacific. Until then, mahal